solution. And then I kind of teach them how to make their own graphic organizers using construction paper. It's not fancy. But okay, from pocket number 1, I chose the zoo, right? Quickly sketch your zoo on. Pocket number 2, which was a setting as in place, or time, quickly I'm going to sketch out night because I chose night. So this story is going to take place in the zoo at night. Ooh, it already sounds awesome. Then my main character is a teacher, and one of the supporting characters is a cat. How interesting is that going to be? And then a problem I chose was that a character is lost, and then the solution is that a character calls for help. Excuse me. And that's their little graphic organizer. They take it back to their desk, and then they can write a story based on those story elements, which is so fun for them, right? You could also eliminate a lot of the choice and just, okay, I noticed that my little friend is having a really hard time remembering to add detail to the story, when the story took place and where it took place. Okay, you know, Johnny, I really want you to work on adding a setting to your story, so I want you to go choose setting as in time, setting as in place, choose 2 of those from the pocket, and then I want you to start writing based on that. And so you can differentiate for different meanings. But that's a really fun activity for your kids, and something that makes writing a little bit more engaging to some of them. And I love that it kind of organizes their thinking as well. It gets them kind of also thinking outside of the box. There's some really cool problem and solutions that they can choose from. And of course, you can get really creative and add your own problems and solutions. But does anyone have any questions about how that's facilitated in the classroom? No, you're like, no, I just want to go to the casino. Please, keep on, let's go. I hear you. Okay, so, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. This is what I was talking about earlier with putting our thoughts in order with the sticky notes and whatnot. So I'll let you take a picture. I'm sorry, sometimes I get ahead of myself. I get so excited to share something, and I kind of forget where they fall into the presentation. Okay, start and finish partners. This is so much fun to do with your kids, you guys. So I like to peanut butter jelly pair my kids up, and I'll say, okay, get with your start and finish partner. Now I want one partner start a story, and then I want the other partner to finish that story, and then they write about the story together. So that's a fun way to get them writing. Of course, another thing is one person writes a news headline, and then another person writes a story about the headline. These would even be great to keep in a center, like the kids can write a headline, and then somebody comes, other kids come to the writing center, pop a headline out and write about, what it might be about. Do you guys have those AM, PM readers, the one, or are they sales? I can't remember, with the blue and yellow backs? Their guided readers are awesome, but one of my favorite things to do is to set the stage in the classroom. Depending on how comfortable you are with this, I make myself laugh. I have to keep myself entertained or I go crazy, right? So sometimes what I'll do in the mornings is when my kids get there, I'll be in my classroom by myself, and they always walk in at all the same time because they're all released from the cafeteria at the same time. And they walk in, and a lot of them are like, I don't even know what to say, especially the boys, like, I'm not touching that, I know my mom, I know what she does, she's not gonna touch that. And the girls are always the ones who are like, Miss Carol, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know, you should just write about it. Hey, it works, it generates a little bit of a buzz. And then, what do you mean write about it? Just write about why do you think I'm so sad? And then I'll read one, or when they, same thing with acting, like laughing when they walk in. I get my maniacal laughter. What's so funny? And they all start laughing. I don't know. Just write about it. What is so funny? I don't know. Oh my gosh. You don't get them writing as soon as they walk into your classroom, as opposed to, waiting for a particular time. That's a great morning work activity, but it's getting them thinking, getting them writing. It's making them a little bit more creative. Also, dressing up. I don't know how comfortable you feel with that, but I have no problem with it. And so, at all. There are times where I'll come to school, and like one time I came to school and I had everything on backwards. And I mean, everything on backwards. Not my shoes. I didn't know how to do that without completely injuring myself. So they walked in, and I just was like walking around like no whatever. And it took a while for some of them to notice, you know, like, something's not right here with Miss Carol. And so, Miss Carol, is your shirt backwards? Like, yeah, totally. And then, no big deal, just keep on walking around. Why? Miss Carol, why did you put your clothes on backwards? I don't know, you should write about it. Why do you think I put my clothes on backwards today? So, just kind of like setting a little stage, getting them, you know, just thinking. I mean, they kind of get excited to write about that. That's fun for them, you know. Of course, decorating the classroom, which I know is time intensive and it's ridiculous, I'm sure, but it's fun for the kids. You know, I need to have a good time in my classroom, because if I'm not having fun, my kids aren't having fun, and I just want to make things exciting for them. You know, nobody ever comes back to your classroom the next year and goes, remember that worksheet we did together? Wasn't that so much fun? Nobody is ever going to come back and say that. But they will remember experiences that we give them. And so let's provide them with fun things. You know, it doesn't have to be every day of the week, once in a blue moon, but at least you're doing something fun. So, you know, decorating the classroom, like, for example, I'm thinking about two bloggers who are masters of this. Elizabeth Hall at Kickin' It in Kindergarten, and Holly Ely from Kindergarten Connections. She's fantastic. I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head. She had, when they were doing their weather unit, it was on a Friday, because she always did something different to her classroom on Fridays. She decorated the classroom like Chew and Swallow. She had like yarn coming down with food attached to it. I mean, it was just like cool, you know, like the kids would walk in and be like, oh my gosh, our room is kind of transformed. Obviously not transformed insanely, but transformed. What a great writing experience for your kids. Instead of telling them why it's decorated, write about it. What do you observe? What do you see? Tell me what's going on in the classroom this morning. So those are two really great bloggers to look into. They've got tons of ideas on their blogs about decorating the classroom. Not necessarily for writing experiences, but what a great example of something to do to provide our kids with experiences for writing.
Kindergarten.
Yeah, absolutely. Kickin' It in Kindergarten is Elizabeth Hall, and Holly Ely is Kindergarten Connections. And while I'm on the subject too, Hope King from Elementary Shenanigans. You know, she teaches at the Ron Clark Academy, and they're like the masters of setting the stage to engage in their classrooms. I mean, it's just phenomenal what they do. But she's got some really great ideas for that kind of stuff as well. But they provide great writing experiences for our kids. And with that, we are done. So, please feel free to ask any questions if you have any. And otherwise, you guys enjoy.